I'm Serenne Kaplan. I'm a clinical psychologist and I'm talking to you again from Johannesburg, South Africa. Where were you when the world stopped on the 7th of October? For all of us, there will forever be a before this happened and an after. So let's take stock of where we are right now. 40 days have passed since Hamas's killing spree, their modern-day pogrom, which set a brand new low for the depths to which humanity can fall. It feels like the world's moral compass is broken and bankrupt, that hate-festing has become the norm. There's been a complete evacuation of decency where hostages remain in captivity. Parents don't know where their infants slept last night, if they've been fed, and whether to carry on hoping for their survival. Holocaust survivors have not been spared seeing a second genocide in their lifetime. We are deeply betrayed by the hallowed halls of academia, the supposed bastions of the civilized world, who now brandish hate speech and stoke the fires of a wave of anti-Semitism last seen in pre-World War II Germany. The lines between ideology and morality have completely collapsed. The tropes of Jewish hatred have seen a spine-chilling surge worldwide, with an increase of 581% in the UK and 400% in the USA alone, endorsing a bloody campaign to wipe Israel and its Jews clear off the map. An information war is in full tilt. Now, it's said that the first casualty of war is truth. It feels like an international rampage to gaslight Israel and the Jews, a massive blame game where 1,400 slayed victims, unbelievably, have turned Israel into the mother of all perpetrators. The cognitive dissonance of it all is staggering. After a period of slumber, like a cancer in remission, the tide has turned and raw hatred leaves Jews once again feeling threatened and uneasy on the planet. Now, this is not our first rodeo. Our history casts a long shadow. We have been vilified, ogreized, and demonized in every generation. And if you're wondering, why are you feeling so bad? It is no surprise. And here's the reasons why. You see, our trauma menu is full to capacity. Number one, we are a people experiencing vicarious trauma on behalf of our people in Israel. A meme I saw the other day said it all. A co-worker asked if I have family in Israel. Yes, I responded. A few million of them. Secondly, we are feeling the impact of generational trauma and collective memory, which is deeply embedded in our DNA. It's inherited from our forefathers who were felled down by the likes of Amalek, Inquisitions, and the Nazi genocide just a handful of decades ago. You see, as Jews, we have the longest relationship with trauma. And our brains, even though we weren't there, know this brand of fear. The cast has changed, but the play remains exactly the same. Thirdly, we have this rolling anxiety, leaving us fearful of an apocalyptic world war. And then, fourthly, we have catastrophic grief as we survey the scale of this loss. Do not be misled. This is not a territorial battle about geography, but a head-on collision between good and evil, civilization and savagery. It's a war without borders, and we are called upon to pick a side, to stand up and show up on the right side of history. We have big emotions about it all, huge tidal waves of them. From the outside, we all look pretty much the same, but from the inside, our hearts are punctured, our souls wounded. We're aboard the Big Dipper of feelings. It's like a giant game of snakes and ladders. We can go from the heady highs of solidarity marches to the pathos of live exhibitions of red towels, buckets and spades on Durban Beach, representing the 30 children still held in Gaza, to the crushing lows of our brothers and sisters who have already paid with their impossibly young lives. So just how do we deal with the flood of emotions that keep coming at us? So Steve Jobs was famous for saying, deciding what not to do is as important as deciding what to do. We're flooded with feelings, from A for anger to Z for zoned out, when our nervous systems become so highly triggered and overloaded by online content. It's a melting pot of emotions. You see, our grief often masquerades as anger, and our outrage can be a substitute for fear. Anger, you see, often feels like power when we're feeling powerless. There is so much screaming and shouting, ranting and raging going on. And here's the thing about maxing out on anger. You won't change someone's opinion because you're angry at them. But what you will do is bump up the algorithm of their posts and your blood pressure along with it. So instead of choosing anger, choose restraint and self-regulation. Don't give in to the allure of jumping into the toxic cauldron. Remember, what you feed grows, so don't dive indiscriminately into the social media fray, which may just poison your own well. There is no shortage of bad news. But also don't lose sight of the good news. Hamas, you have no idea what unity you've released into the Jewish world. Over 200,000 Israelis have returned home, along with thousands of volunteers who have shown up to defend and support our homeland. Jews who've never identified as Jewish are returning to their faith. There has been a mobilization of entire communities around the globe, opening their homes to evacuees, collecting essential equipment, delivering food and uplifting the injured soldiers at their hospital beds. Now, when David faced Goliath, he did not talk about how dangerous Goliath was. He talked about how powerful God is. What other army takes Torah scrolls with them to war? Now, there is fierce fighting by land, by air, and by sea. But let's turn the lens for a moment on another sinister, less tangible form of warfare. That is the psychological warfare of terror and radical extremism. So what exactly are we up against here? Let's take a moment to really understand our enemy better. The sole aim of terrorism, like its name implies, is to terrify. Fear-mongering is the potent psychological weapon of terror. Those menacing black balaclavas, red and green headbands are specifically designed to elicit fear, as does the publicizing of heinous acts of cruelty worn on body cams in real time. There is nothing that Hamas likes less than peace. Life is cheap, and death is its expressed mission statement. Theirs is a dangerous, destruction-oriented ideology where fury takes center stage, and the end justifies any means. It is birthed from the cradle, infiltrating young minds as a foolproof recipe of parking everything at the door of the Jews. What we saw post October 7th was enough to destroy our faith in humanity. How do we protect ourselves from this psychological warfare? The golden nugget here is not to sacrifice your own humanity at the altar of their worship and glorification of violence and death. Body bags should never become something we become desensitized to. Your humanity matters, and the theft of it would be a shocking casualty of this war. So do not anesthetize yourself to the suffering of innocent people on either side. In the final analysis, against all historic probabilities and defying all the odds, we are still here and always will be. You see, us Jews are an eternal people. We are part of an unbreakable chain. In October this year, Shaare Zedek Hospital broke an all-time record of the most babies born in a single month. 1,823 births remind us that even in our darkest moments, we choose life, we choose hope and faith in a good tomorrow. We are equal parts scared, bewildered, anxious, watching, waiting, vigilant, scrolling, and tense. But we also feel Hashem's closeness. And when we feel moments of despair, remember, the sea literally split for us. We have our allies for which we are deeply grateful, but we have to advocate for ourselves. We will not go like lambs to the slaughter. If we wait for the Red Cross to intervene with the hostages, it will be a long wait indeed. We will never win the popularity contest, but we will also never be emotional beggars on the international stage either. In South Africa, we have a binding constitutional democracy. There is no place for panic. Jews all around the world are imagining asking their Gentile friends, "Would you hide me?" But here's the thing. Nobody is hiding anyone. There is no keeping our heads down, blending in, or dumbing down on our Jewishness. There is no cowering at home. Victimhood is unbecoming of us. Do not be apologetic for your Jewishness. Wear it like a badge of honor, like the life-affirming nation that we are. Practice visible Judaism, like the thousands who made history by praying and praising God peacefully outside the White House on Tuesday, the 14th of November. Wear your kippot, go to your shuls, and don your Star of Davids. We will not layer hate with more hate, incite more hostility, or fan the flames of aggression and intimidation. Hamas, you have poked the Jewish bear. We will rise, phoenix-like, from the charred ashes of October 7th. There is no putting the pin back in the grenades that detonated at the Nova Peace Party or wiped out Kibbutz Be'eri. But we know this. Israel is not up for grabs. We are crystal clear in our end game. Survival is our job description. We have no plan B. We are not going anywhere. So in closing, when we said never again, we meant it